And now?
Oh man, you back.
All right, cool. I was saying to her that she's eating the last yogurt for the month. You have to travel like 2 hours to go to the nearest shop to get yogurt. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, what were you saying?
Oh my god, back to me. Okay, so in my case,
You
I got
remember.
the comment that I made because like I can't really like remember everything that you said in detail, right? So I'd rather like
I'll say it again.
oh okay, that would be good.
No, well, I'll say it again. Whatever you're gonna bring up. I mean, the whole video was quite long.
Yeah, it was.
We were talking about single parenthood and sexual liberation and the gender pay gap and uh, women being oppressed.
And how
Women
the
being the
society
most yeah, women being the most oppressed people in the black women being the most oppressed people in no black South African women being the most oppressed people in the world. So yeah, that's what we're talking about.
okay, so in remembering in what I said, it specifically was based on a an opinion that was passed during that conversation. So it also included what society perceives us as women and also the role that we play, right? And I think I said in that comment that um, it's another thing saying that society says, but what do you teach okwakho wena in your own house? Because society can say this, but you can still overrule that by teaching your children or whoever you're living with inside the household different from what society says. It doesn't mean that what society says is good. It's not always good. It's not always right. You can always teach new things. People can adapt to what you're teaching or the idea that you're coming with in the household. It doesn't really have to be what society says.
Mm, mm,
Shorter with.
yeah. I think also, yeah, I think with that as well, it's like society is not just the outside. Society is also exactly the household. It's like the same as groups. Whenever we say that the system is oppressing us, what system are we talking about? Like it's always just it's an arbitrary system that we don't even know what it is. We just want to blame something that no one even knows what it is, where it came from. It's always this system, this
Yes.
system. It's like you are a collection of systems yourself. You are a collection of groups yourself. So when you say that, then no, we're oppressed as a group of people. It's like even in that group of people, every single person is a particular group within themselves individually. So that's I think was the that's the point that I was making was that you're not just one person belonging to one particular group. Like for instance, you're both females, né? You and Mishka, right? But when Wasama Tatiela and she's from Cape Town, right? So where you're from is different. She's Muslim and you're, let's say, Christian. I'm not sure, but whatever, right? So that is different. You're middle class, she's middle class, or whatever it is, right? So that's the same, right? But maybe she has two parents and you have one parent, and that's different. Maybe she has 6 kids and you have 4 kids. That's different. Your educational background is different. Your ages are different. So you belong in so many categories that you are a collection of a lot of groups. Yeah. So for you then to say, no, I'm only going to look at the group that I feel that I'm oppressed in, it's like, that's how groups fraction. Because then you say, look, feminism is about women. And then you're going to go and say, yeah, but black women are more oppressed. Then white women and colored women and people that don't identify as black women say, hey, well, but we're oppressed as well. Like, isn't this supposed to be about feminism? And then you guys fraction. And then the people from Mamatatiela are going to say, look, But we're black women, Patina Singasa Matatiela, and we're more oppressed than people from Emondi that are going to be then a bit more oppressed than people from PE that are going to be a bit more oppressed than people from Cape Town. You see? And then it just keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. And then even the Matatiela, it's like, no, but when you grew up from this family and this family, and then Nina Nenzalendo, and you have a bit more than I do, and I have a bit more than you do. And then you find that everything will just fraction, until you as the individual person are left, which is your own group. So that's the one point I was making. The second point is, if you then say, look, I'm a white or I'm a black person, right? And because black people have been oppressed in the past, that means that I'm oppressed. So then I'm benefiting from the group's oppression. That means that I will then also have to take on the group's oppressive status as well. Because if people say no, but then black people murder people, then I have to be part of those people. I can't all of a sudden say, not me. It's like, but then when we were giving you benefits, you didn't say, but not you. You then withheld that. You said, no, I'm going to take the benefit, right? I'm a black person, so therefore I'm going to then say that I deserve to be part of the quota system because I'm benefiting. Yeah. So then as soon as someone says, okay, cool, well, I got robbed by a black person yesterday, so therefore black people are all robbers, then I have to take that as well. Because equivalent, you can't then choose and pick what you want according to when you're the victim and then not take it when then you're the oppressor. And that's the dangerous part of everything. Yeah, that's me. Your sound is off. Your sound.
Yeah.
Your sound. Switch your sound off and on. Mishka, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't hear her.
Oh man. Your sound. She's so frustrated.
She's just trying the yogurt.
Switch your sound on and off. Switch it on and off. How do you say this in what's this hard what sound in sign language?
I don't know.
Talk. Can't hear you. Go somewhere else and come back.
Try the neighbor's house.
Yeah. 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 Not the same.
But she really wanted to say some stuff.
Which
All
is
right, Mishi, what do you want to say?
I don't know. Oh, she's still going.
Well, this is witchcraft. I want to hear nothing of it. Like,
Oh God!
what? What, bro? I need to check on my ancestors, bro. What the hell? What was that? Someone's hacking on my stuff, bro.
I think you've caused enough trouble now. You need to stop with these lives.
Wow, I need to stop it. Someone's talking to me, bro. She, every time I go, okay, Miss got talk, boom, all of a sudden those speakers work. Yeah, anyway, you want to say something?
Not really.
As usual.
I wasn't paying attention. I didn't listen to those videos of yesterday. I just saw the one with the that you added a caption to on your WhatsApp status.
Oh.
And then I probably watched like two after that, and I was like, nah, this is gonna be a waste of my time.
Sounded like yeah.
She's adding comments.
Yeah, I can see.
Oh,
Yeah. Um, yeah, man,
yeah,
it's
I mean, or like, I was obvious, I don't know anything about anyone else besides myself and my own experiences. And so when she said the thing about, what did she say? Like Muslim people or whatever. And I was just like,
Mhm.
nah, because females have so much of rights. Well, the wife, when they enter a marriage, it's not oppressive at all.
It's actually almost the opposite.
It's it's very much the opposite. And
Mm.
if you really have to like look at it, and it's actually the male that could say, okay, this is a little bit oppressive. Like, why do I have to do
Exactly.
everything and she doesn't have to do anything?
Mm.
So yeah, people should do research before they say stuff.
I, yeah, I don't even think that it's more research than it is like I think this is a combination of so many
But it's
lives
also
that we've
just
done.
hearsay, you know?
Yeah. Not
And
even just here as well. I think it's a combination of so many lives that I've done in the sense that like it's just better to look at the world like that, to look at the world as if it owes you something. It
yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense that way. Then you don't have to owe anyone anything. It's that's how, I mean, even that's true, like literally. Like if you owe someone money, which reminds me, I actually owe one of my colleagues some cash. But like but something like that, it's like an ingrown thing where if you earn yourself, if someone owes you money, you're more likely to remember that. But if they owe you money, I mean, if you owe them money, you're more likely to forget because you lose something,
mm,
right? But then the problem with the whole thing is that then it's probably better for you to remember that you owe someone else money or anything because they're gonna take you out.
mm,
Because with the same figure that you're going against them, they're gonna take you out. And look, when I was posting this stuff and I was listening to it, I was like, man, jeez, I didn't even hear some of this like foul stuff. It's just it was mind boggling. I was like, oh, this is one of the reasons why I don't like watching these things is because you always go, oh, I should have said that, I should have said this, or whatever it is. But I guess in a conversation, you want to obviously, it's not like a verbal combat. You want to kind
mm.
of just learn from each other. So, which is probably a good thing. So, yeah, even listening to that, I was like, there's so many like again when I say it's like you want to say no, we're the most oppressed people in the world. It's like who? I don't want to speak
Yeah,
for everyone. Okay? Well, it's like those are contradictory. It's like you don't want to speak for everyone, but you want to only speak for them when we're the most oppressive people in the world. And it's
mm,
like who is these people? And then that's how these things just disseminate. It's like, look, we everyone is kind of has a certain level of oppression. That's not a problem. Like that's kind of agreed on, right? But again, it's like it's an oppression based on a particular time, particular place, particular manner. It's like it depends how you want to look at it. It's like
mm,
what I said the other day about like Saudi not allowing females to drive. It's like who's being oppressed there? Because not allowing them to drive means that the males will have to drive. So then maybe the guys that like to drive are then benefiting, and the women that really like to drive are oppressed. But then what about the guys that don't want to drive?
yeah,
So you can't then just say that, oh, well, I'm going to look at the people that only don't want to drive and then say that that is oppressive to everyone.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
that
I was
was that
reading your
was
comment on Facebook about like girls staying indoors at
Mm,
night
mm,
and whatever. So I was going to
mm.
say actually something very similar because, um, yeah, because like even me growing up, my I'm a female and I have a brother, and he could do things that I had to wait until I was like 20 odd to do. He could do at a much younger age just because he's a boy.
Mm.
And yeah, like is that oppression? We come from the same family. I didn't view it as oppression like growing up. Like
Yeah. And look, and even with that, it's like you can look at it like that, right? We can say, okay, because he was a boy, he was then let to be done, or he was allowed to do things that you weren't allowed to do, and then you can
mm,
say, well, is that an oppression? Because then that means that he then thought that going out late at night was a good thing until he then got robbed or until he got stabbed. Then he
mm,
goes, oh, that's why Mishka actually wasn't allowed out. But then in the same breath, you can still say, well, what if your brother was, well, touch wood, obviously, well, it can't be now, but what if your brother was a special needs child, right?
mm,
Now he's not just an able-bodied male, he's a disabled-bodied male. Would
mm,
he then be allowed to go out at night? Then it's like, oh, actually, no, probably not. Then it's like, so the one factor is like, yeah, he was a male, but he's a collection of a lot of things. So all those other things need to be taken into account. Because it's the same thing as like, well, what if he's able-bodied and then he's more prone to do drugs?
yeah,
So then is that a benefit? Is that oppression? Maybe in that sense, you can be the one that says, well, I was actually benefiting because then I then could see what the dangers are through him. It's the same with war, for example. It's like, well, if he was taken out at night and he as a guy is told, look, go out there and fight the war. Well, who's oppressed? What if he
yeah,
doesn't want to go to war? So I think that's the conversation that it's you need to really get into the nitty gritty of it. It depends on situation. It depends on certain factors. It depends on circumstance. It depends on time. It depends on nana. It depends on a lot of things. And then it depends on particularly that those individuals that are in that particular area, particular time, and whatever, how they feel, because that's probably the most important thing.
mm.
So yeah, the issue is
Yeah,
again is that.
everything is so subjective. Like it's almost impossible to find a solution. Well,
Mm,
yeah,
mm. But this is like I said, it's a combination of a lot of the talk that I've had. Is like you can see it happening, especially when you get sold a narrative, and then the person that's selling that narrative then gets incentives for it, which means that they have to then keep selling that narrative, whether they believe it or not. And then when
mm,
you are now the person receiving the narrative, you then obviously think that, oh, okay, what this person is saying is right. And then if you don't have any autonomous thought processes or your own critique processes, then you just keep going down the same cycle. And then all you do
mm,
is you become the thought process. You don't actually critique and think, no, actually, no, this is wrong or this is right. You just become part of the people. And then you have to keep going back to them to find out, oh, hey, what's the right thing now? What's going on now? Like you don't have any autonomous figure. And then what
mm,
happens is that that person then shifts their thought process. Then you go, oh, now what do I do? And then you're stuck. So it gives you a certain level of comfort, but that comfort is also very dangerous in the fact that because it doesn't then allow you to then get out of it because comfort is nice. No one wants to be uncomfortable, but uncomfortable is exactly where you find growth.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, you become warped in your own mindset. You tend to then just kind of say, okay, well, this is what I was taught. This is and it's weird. It's like the third or fourth conversation that I've had with the thought process like that, where someone will tell you, "Go and read this." It's like, so that what? Like you tell me, like reading it is what is that gonna do? You know what I mean? It's like then I read it and then what? Like if you read it and you understand whatever you telling me what you're doing or however you're thinking, then you should be able to explain it to me. But it's like it's almost like a cop out. Like, look, I understood it when I read that, and I can't exactly say it because it doesn't really make sense to me. So you go and read it, and maybe you'll feel the same way. It's like, no, that's not how
Yeah.
things work. Yeah, imagine at work you say that. Like someone says to you, "Hey, do you think that ergonomics is actually the way that we sit is a good way?" Then you go, "Hey, go read it up." It's like what? Why would I go read it up? That's what you read it up for, and that's why you're telling me about it. How did you not critique it? I don't need it.
Yeah. Like in service training.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's the thing with like when you go to university or you go and you study or you talking to your friends. Like your friends are supposed to make you feel uncomfortable because again, uncomfortability is exactly where you grow. Imagine having
Mm.
friends that always talk the same stuff all the time. You will
Yeah.
never be able to get out of the world, man. You'll never be able to think for yourself. You'll always be stuck on the same mentality, and then you'll just do the same thing, and then you'll keep saying, "Nope, the outside is wrong. The outside is wrong." It's like, yeah, okay.
Mm.
Outside doesn't even have time to even tell you what's right anymore because you're so ingrained in your own thought process that you can't even see outside.
Yeah. And I think like that's also like something like I've recently made a friend who is like the most honest person ever, like I've ever met. And like in the
We?
beginning, no, not you. And you know me, I was super sensitive and like I would
Yeah.
just avoid like if you're gonna say something nasty or uncomfortable, like you can miss me with that. But now, because I've accepted that it's not an attack on you, and like you should actually just view it as positive. Like I've grown so much um, just by acknowledging that this person doesn't hate me. Um, yeah, it was. I don't know. Like I just
You
feel like
you
I
you
feel like
actually talking about me, bro.
I'm
I was
not
I was
talk.
overboard.
No,
I
I'm
was
not talking about
overboard.
you. No, but I'm just saying like it's hard to get there, but once you get there, you
It's
realize the
worth it.
value,
It's worth it.
and that
Yeah.
you're not scared of that uncomfort, and you
Discomfort.
actually look for it
Discomfort.
at times. Discomfort. Oh my goodness, my English. Um, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, look, that's like that's everything, right? That's exactly everything. Is that like you go to a place and you go to physio or you go to OT or you go anywhere and they give you something that's gonna give you a little bit of pain, right?
mm,
But then in the future, it's like the short term is terrible, but it's good for the medium to long term. Then the next time you go there with something else, oh, you know what? If I don't feel something that like this, that's a little bit painful, anything like that, I'm not sure if it's going to give me something for the future, right?
yeah,
Because if it's nice and it's a bit too good to be true, then you always want to come and say, look, I'll go through the pain. I'll go through the pain. Because you know that it's going to give you something nicer at the end. Which is what you do with life, right? It's like every time, but at the same time, you don't want to encounter something that's going to take you out. You don't want to then have someone break your leg for you to feel better in the future. So it's the same with information. You don't want to have something that's going to absolutely annihilate you and put you in a state of um, not knowing what your identity is. But you want something to shake you a bit to then go back and sleep on it and sleep on it and sleep on it and sleep on it. And then maybe after a year, after 2 years, after 5 years, you go, ah, okay,
yeah,
right. Burn off that dead wood. You burn off that dead skin. That's what scabs are.
mm,
You have it there because there's something new underneath. And that something new might be better than the thing that you have now. And probably is. But you're going to have to go through that and peel that off for it to actually regrow again. Because you have to take it out from the root.
mm.
And that's what university should be doing. Not to pamper you and give you a safe space. Like, why would you think a safe space is safe?
Mm. Yeah, like
So,
yeah, like oh, that's another conversation. Safe
yeah,
spaces.
it's deep, yeah. It's deep, man. It's like you don't want to, like that's exactly what I'm saying again. It's like you people appreciate people that are very blunt because you know that whatever they're saying is not from a place of malice.
Mm.
It's not like they're trying to break you down. They probably don't even care about you. It's like they just care about the situation and the point, and that's
Yeah.
got nothing to do with your feelings,
Mm.
right? And then, like I said again, you have to. Also, the problem is this: is that you have to have a center in your being that's going to be sensitive to stuff like that, because you can't just have anyone question your identity as willingly, because then that means that then you don't have any background, you don't have any spine.
Mm.
So you have to have some sort of spine, something rooted from. Then when someone questions it, it's like, oh, it's uncomfortable, it's uncomfortable. But that uncomfortability that you're in is safety. So you need to feel safe. That's why
Mm.
those centers rock up. Even when we have a conversation and I disagree with you, then you start to shout, and then you start to push, and then you start to, say derogatory things, and you start to insult, because it's actually questioning your safety center.
Mm.
Because if you accept it, then you're unsafe. Then you die, right? So you then actually want to accept it a little bit, and you go, "Ooh, okay, that's a point there, but hey, I don't want to just give it to you. Like, you got to work for it, and that's also
Mm.
good for you as well, because you know now when you talk to people how to then manage.
Yeah, and I
You see,
think
and
that
then
like that's exactly like how these generational curses and traumas are broken, because what you have then put at the center and have made your safety net or your foundation, it gets rattled at some point down the line. And then you have to
mm,
decide for yourself, are you going to
yeah,
change it and rebuild everything, or you're going to keep that? And whether you agree with this new information that comes to you,
mm,
are you okay with letting go of what you were taught and what you
yeah,
have put there for yourself as your safety, but
mm.
it's not really keeping you safe.
It's not safe. Yes, and every day
Yeah.
you go, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
those
then and
things
then I
you,
feel like that causes more chaos inside, because now
yes,
you
and
you you've been confronted with this information and a truth that you can see yourself believing and living with, but to honor those people that have raised you or whatever, you don't want to let go of what you're starting to realize is wrong.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, that's how people get stuck. And then that's how the wheel just keeps turning and the same thing goes and goes and goes.
yeah. That's that comfort zone. Yeah, like I said, that comfort zone again. It's a good thing in the sense that it keeps you rooted. But then it's
Yeah,
like,
but it's also the comfort of not offending the people around you. Because
true.
then, that safety net, the supposedly safety, um, once you start rattling that cage and you want to bring in new ideas, you're gonna be standing on your own, and no
Yeah,
one wants that. So again, the
yeah,
discomfort of being alone,
yeah,
standing for
yeah.
what you now believe in,
Mm,
versus being trapped in this same pattern that's just harming everyone that's going to come after you. Like,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
you really have to, yeah, you really have to be able to think wider.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, I think, and also I think a lot of that growth happened from legit, like it's you having the talk with yourself at 3 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, when you're
Yeah.
sitting, you're thinking about your problems. Nothing else matters besides you and your problems. Like that's when you and the thought process that you have then kind of have a conflict. And you know, bro, you know what it is. You know that, hey, you know what, man, maybe my friends are not really my friends, or maybe the way that I'm thinking is not right. Maybe it's a bit, it's a bit off a bit, right? And then
Mm,
it's like it's only 1% of that thought process is not gonna come through. You just think about it and you go, whatever, I'm being stupid. You go back to bed. But you just give it
mm,
5 years, and then it's really banging at your door, and then you have to change. And it's like it's no other way.
mm,
So, yeah, but you have to be willing to. You can't, like I said again, it's like it disrupts your safety. Then it's a bit too much of something to handle. Which is why then when you have conversations with people that think differently or have a different thought process, you cannot accept it. It's like, no, I still think that this is the way. It's like,
mm.
okay, because
Yeah, but there's no
otherwise
but
you
the
would.
thing is, that's the thing. Like you have to realize the power that you have for
Mm,
yourself. Like you hold all the power to change things for yourself. Like no one else can do that. So
mm,
no one is pressuring you to change things overnight. Sleep
mm,
on it. Like take 5 years to build up the courage to accept this new way of being or whatever. Change things for yourself. Like there's no timeline, but just be
mm,
open to the change.
mm. Yeah, that's
And
that's yeah, that's yeah. I mean, that's the uncomfortability part. That's why it's so much easier to then sell people a victim card. Because than that, you can just buy it tomorrow, and then it's yours, and then
mm,
everyone owes you. Yeah, you don't have to think about what the other people owe you. You know, it's
yeah,
it's again, yeah, it's like yeah, it's small stuff, and I think for me, it affects people that are a bit less strong-willed than most, or kind of the people that want to always think for other people affects them the most more than people that are very independent, you know? Because people that are very independent have only themselves to live with, and they only want to live with themselves. So they have to then create a space for themselves to just keep going. And then they have to be truthful to themselves. But the people that want to always kind of please everyone and kind of always not want to disrupt the comfort,
a piece.
then
Mm,
it's like, yeah. And it's like, cool, man. I'm gonna sell you that, man. I'm gonna sell you exactly what you want. I'm gonna tell you
yeah.
that whatever you think is gonna bring peace. And then before you know it, it's the biggest chaos you've ever seen.
Like I was talking to someone yesterday and we were saying like, so I'm just like trying to relate it to this. So you want to change things like for yourself and but you don't have to put it on the next person. Do you know what I mean? Like change it because you want to do it for you. And then you just keep quiet about it and you just live your life. You know what I mean? Like it's I don't know if I don't think I'm getting it across properly, but
I know, no, I see what you're saying. I think a lot of the problem with that also is the fact that it's difficult to even know when it's for yourself or when it's for someone else. Because sometimes, even if you're doing it for someone else, that gives you whatever you want. So it's like if it's like you as a mother, for example, it's like if you feed yourself, you might not feel like I'm doing something. But if your child is hungry and you feed them, that makes you even more happy than if you fed yourself.
mm,
You see, so there's that as well. It's like it's embedded in. It depends on the circumstances as well. It's like some people want to really see the world grow and be great, and then that makes them feel great instead of going out and spoiling themselves because then they're like, I'm not entirely happy because someone else is not happy.
mm,
So it's tricky. That's why sometimes when you tell someone that, it's like, no, look, go out there and do something for yourself. Like telling a mother, go out there and spend your money and don't give it to your kids. That'll that'll eat them alive,
mm.
you know. But then you have some mothers that'll say, look, she's I couldn't wait to do that, right? So it depends on the person as well. It depends on who that person is, the circumstance, and so on and so forth as well. and certain people, like for me, for example, I'll be like, nope, I'll always go make do for myself in certain situations. But then if I'm at work, I'll be like, nope, completely the opposite. It's like it doesn't matter
Mm.
if it affects me in a negative way or not. As long as that person is happy, then I'm happy. But ultimately, you can't get away from the fact that it's about you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of
I
people
was, I
don't
was,
it introspection is it's daunting.
of course it is, man.
It's very it's intimidating. It's
Too much
super
work.
hard. And it's super hard to admit or first to see and then admit that you're an ugly person in certain situations. And you
Yeah.
have to live with that dark side of you. Because everyone wants to think that they're a nice person and they do good things for other people. But
Mm,
you have to also see the bad side and accept
yeah.
that it's part of you.
Yeah. Like I
And
said,
so I
that's
think
legit.
that is like obviously that also causes that discomfort. And
Yeah.
it's just so much
Yeah.
easier to live superficially and look at someone else.
Yeah. And some people can do that, eh? Some people can legit just switch off and say, no, I'll do this a superficial way because
Yeah.
any ounce of any ounce of negative anything will tear me to shreds. And it's like, okay, fair enough, man. If some people just say, no, I just want to live the lavish life because if I look at anything under the carpet that's going to be dark, that's it for me. That's game over. It actually will take you out.
Mm.
See, so yeah, but then again, it's like, well, then cool, and there's no growth. But if you're comfortable with it, then who am I to tell you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's the
and
people who
look, it's
need it.
yeah, exactly, exactly. That yeah, you find the one where you least want to look. Exactly. There's nothing more true than that. Nothing more true than that. It's like you can go to when you're embarrassed about stuff. It's like those exact things that are embarrassing you. As soon as you want to then encounter them, but slowly but surely, because you don't want to take all that embarrassment out because then it will just annihilate you. But slowly but surely,
Mm.
as soon as you go and you unravel it, then the more you're like, oh shit, this is exactly what I wanted to see. Like this is what I've been wanting to see my whole life. But because you want to close that off, because you're so scared of the magnitude of it, you then actually only needed to see a little bit and a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can actually do this. It's
Mm.
it's like, yeah, man, it's crazy. It's a lot of people have rooms that they don't want to be in and they don't want to open. It's like, okay, well
Mm.
then the door's there. It's up to you. It's just the way it works. Sometimes you're scared that you don't want to have people see all your. It's like we do it all the time, right? Like if your room is dirty, you don't want people to see it. So when someone calls you, you go and here, yeah, no, talk to me here. You know, it's like of course, because you know that there's a dirty room and you know that it's wrong and you know that it's shameful. So what are you gonna
Mm.
do? you have to you have to start somewhere. But you have to choose where to start.
Yeah.
But then again, like I said, it's easier just to say, nope, my room's not dirty. And it's like, okay, good luck. Yeah, exactly that. I mean, look, when I was talking to Port and I was talking about, like, he was telling me so many people that have deleted him and all that. I was telling him, look, probably because you opened up the room too much and it was too much at the same time. And it actually made them unsafe.
Mm.
And maybe as time will go by, they'll come back and say, "Phew, yeah, maybe I actually needed to hear this." So sometimes that happens. You delete people and you block people because it's too much. It'll
Mm.
actually take you out, and perhaps that is actually will be a negative, a net negative.
Yeah, it's also you have to go about it like very cautiously.
Yeah, you don't want to be taken out.
Yeah, and like as much as it's things that people need to know, you need to give it to them also in a certain way. Because
Yeah,
it's heavy stuff,
yeah.
and if someone's not ready, then
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's I guess is a negative thing between someone like me or someone like him. It's like we don't know any other way. It's like it's
yeah,
you take it, that's your problem. So that's our trouble. And then
yeah,
when we get labeled as like we're arrogant or we're whatever it is by someone that's going to be very soft, for example, compared to us. But
mm,
then it's like, look, maybe that's what we're here for,
yeah, but maybe
you
that's what
know.
you need to reflect on
No, of
and
course, bro. It's
accept that
like,
it's not conducive to the situation.
of course. Look, that. You see, that is my biggest trouble.
Yeah.
That's my problem that I have to sit with every day and wrestle with. That's what keeps me awake at 2 or 4 a.m. in the morning. It's like, hmm.
Ach, don't
And it's
lie, it
like,
doesn't
no,
keep you
no.
awake.
Look, it
I
makes me
don't give a
wink.
shit.
It makes me wink just a little.
You just wake up and check the time and go back to sleep.
It's the bladder that wakes me up. Hey, hey, I don't like to get personal on these lives.
My bad.
But yeah, man, that's exactly that. You have to be comfortable with yourself. And sometimes you actually it's better to not be comfortable with yourself in order to be comfortable with yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Flip, that's like the biggest lesson I've learned this past year. Like,
I know I've been giving you these lessons for free, bro.
not you. You're not even in the same country as me. Don't give yourself credit. Uh-uh.
Oh man, yeah, it's crazy.
But Flip,
Yeah,
it's a lot of mixed feelings when you start this journey, but it's
it's like gym.
it is like gym, and I'm doing both
Yeah,
at the same time.
exactly. And it's probably the nice thing about it. I was saying to one of my patients was like, sometimes you have a lot of problems in life and you don't know where to start, right? And you find that one solution to one of the problems is a ripple and domino effect to somewhere else because your problems are not so different to each other,
Yeah.
right? Because the most common thing about your problem is yourself,
Mm.
right? So if you change your problem in one thing, you then adapt and change something that clicks inside you, and then every other thing you see differently. And then you find solutions to small things in those problems. That makes a big
Mm.
net difference. So you might be going to gym, and then you find that then you wake up, you don't want to go there. No one wants to go to gym. It's like, man, if I can just have a six pack without going to gym, why would I go there, right? Okay, so it's like you wake up, you don't want to go there. You know that, but if I do go there, I'll get results in 6 months. Man, that's so fucking far. Then I have to go and
Mm.
eat like this, and man, I just want Krispy Kreme, like this Dunkin' Donut. What the hell? Like these things are so nice. And then you wake up and then you look at the mirror and then you go, ah, okay, well, now you have a comparison. Now you have some
Mm.
place where you can make you look better, and you have another place that you can go to. It'll make you feel nice, but then where's that going to lead? Then you choose your path,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what happens with everything else. It's like, look, I can say that I'm oppressed, but where will I end up? I'll just be sitting and getting the government to pay for things that I never even worked hard for. Or I can go out there, be uncomfortable, and then work hard for something that no one can ever take away from me.
Mm.
Yeah. And every sweat at gym that you get, you think, oh, that's closer to something.
Yeah,
Closer
my
to
my
something. And it's
six
just
pack's coming in July.
Yeah, that time you're like, keep it. You don't even, you look at, you envision that. You're like, wait, somewhere there, man. Bro, that six pack is not even close. But then that thought process that you gain just from that will then change your thought process elsewhere that you need and somewhere else in life.
Yeah.
You go to work, then all of a sudden you're in a better mood. Now people are able to actually chill and talk to you. Then you go, I had a good day at work. It's like, no, the day's always been good at work. You've been the bad part of the day at work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Mm,
so true.
yeah, yeah. That's that destination blindness, right? That's that whole, oh, I don't like my job because I think that these people are terrible. It's like, okay, maybe they are. But what makes you
Mm.
think that the next job you go to, those people are not going to be terrible?
Or worse,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what are you going to do when you get there? What happens if they are terrible? You're going to say the
Mm.
exact same. Then what job are you going to settle at? Oh, are you willing to settle?
Mm.
So then it's like, okay, perhaps I can actually make it better for myself. Because if I make it
Mm.
better for myself, it's better for everyone else as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then like you meet people and you talk about it and they tell you things like, oh, just keep things work related. Don't socialize with people after work or people from work after work. Um, and then you take that advice and then you adapt in a terrible situation and now work's not so bad after all. Like
Yeah,
it's about
yeah.
you. It's not you're not changing the environment, you're changing you and how you're
Yeah.
interacting with that environment.
You changing your environment.
Mm,
Yeah, because that environment there, you know how many times you go to work and you feel like the aura around there is so like it's so terrible when you hear it from other people. But
mm,
whenever you arrive, you have a different perspective of it. Then you think, huh? I don't understand. Why does this person say that it's bad, but when I come here, it's not? And it's
mm.
because you are the aura for yourself when you get there. And then people
Yeah.
then say, oh, I want to actually liaise with, oh, I want to be around this person. Then by the
Mm.
time you leave, they go back to normal because now, oh, I'm chilling with Lungi again. He's going to go tell me jokes all the time. I hate this. You know, so it works both ways as well. It's like, look, sometimes if you're a person that you think, no, I can't, like for me, I can't stay away from people. So even if I'd go to work and I think, oh, I'm going to just ignore someone, it eats me.
Mm.
Right? So then I said, okay, fine, I understand that. That's not a part that I want to go. Okay, so what happens if I go to work and the people that I don't like, I then actually speak to them in a way that at least I am not going to make them not hate me, or I'm not going to be, it's not going to be eating me inside.
Mm.
And then you go, oh, okay, well, there it works. Maybe a few 5 days or 7 days at work, nothing works. But then I just say, okay, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work. Then this worked. Am I comfortable with it? Yes, I am. Go with that. But if I wasn't even willing to look, then of course it's going to be terrible.
Mm.
Then I go, let me go to another job. Good luck.
Yeah.
Because the most consistent thing there is you.
Mm. And you're going with the same attitude, the same aura, the same outlook.
And they're all people. Yeah,
Yeah.
so all you have to see is a little bit of a trait from someone that you didn't like in some other job, and then you treat them exactly
Mm.
like you treated this job.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, it's like also for me, like now, the one thing that I don't want to talk about it, but it's like when when jobs or when an area is so bad for you that you feel as though you want to leave, only thing that you think about is all the bad things until you leave, go somewhere else, and then you go, you know, if only I had actually exploited these things that were good at this job or this area, I would have actually
Mm.
used that in the place that I'm at now. But because when I was there, all I cared about was I don't want to talk to this person. This person is terrible. I don't want to. Oh, this if she says anything, I'm gonna slap her today. It's like
Yeah.
where are you gonna get to now? All of a sudden, all the things that you could have benefited from, that could have helped you, that you could have actually taken a little bit of effort in, would have helped you in the next place you're in. Now, because you overlook that, that makes you even more of a negative in the next place.
Mm.
That happens everywhere, man. I mean, It's like it happens at call centers. You go there, people go to call centers and they think it's the most terrible thing in the world. And it's like, well, what happens if you're the best call center agent there, regardless of what happens?
Mm.
Maybe then if you get enough somewhere else, they'll say, you know what? This person went to a job and looked at all the positives and took all of them because he then used it as a toolbox for himself. And now that's perfect for the next job that he's at. Instead of
Mm.
someone that went there and looked at the toolkit and said, nah, nah, I don't like the spanner. I don't like this box cutter. I don't like that. So nah, I'm not even gonna look at the whole toolbox. And now when we employ him, all he says is, don't give me a spanner, don't give me this. Doesn't
Mm.
tell you anything to give. So
Yeah, and I think I don't know if you said it, maybe I don't know, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. So you choose to focus on the negatives of like your current job, and
yeah, because
then you move to the next one, and it's almost like you going there with like a checklist, and you're like, oh,
yes,
that's also here, that's also here, and then you look for
yeah,
more or less, but
yeah,
only of the negative stuff
and you'll find it.
because you weren't paying attention to the positives in the old job, you're going to struggle to find it in the new job because you don't know what it looks like.
Yeah, you'll find all the
Yeah.
negatives. Yeah, and even
Mm.
it gets even more. It gets even worse because even if you don't, even if the negatives aren't there, you will even create them
Yeah.
yourself in
Yeah.
order to find them.
Yeah. You'll
Yeah,
you'll you'll act and you'll behave in a way that elicits that
that
from
they
the
were there.
environment. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. That's what happens in relationships. That's what
I
happens.
hate that.
Mm,
I was gonna say that happens in relationships.
yeah, yeah. That's what happens.
You
That's
just
that's
you
that's why.
build this image in your head and then it becomes your truth and you
Yeah,
believe it 100% and then it just
yes,
becomes
yes,
your reality.
yes, yeah. Yeah, that's what happens. That's exactly what happens. You go into the next relationship and you go, ooh, well, I didn't like this about Mishka. So therefore, if this chick has any inkling of that, I'm going. And if she doesn't have it, then you
Yeah.
go, no, she has to have it. And then you start becoming toxic towards them until it comes out. And then you go,
Yeah.
I knew she had it. It's like, nope, it's you, man. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
crazy. Yo, the mind is a they say the mind is a
Crazy, man.
powerful
Beyond measure, man. Mm, exactly what happens. Especially when yeah, and like I said, I think the people that are more sensitive are more affected by it or are affected by it quicker than people that are less sensitive
mm,
because it really makes you feel unsafe. Like you said, someone like someone that doesn't really care about a lot of stuff doesn't get affected as quickly because they don't actually put that their mind into that. But someone that's
mm,
really sensitive, if you just show them anything that's going to be scary, then the world is scary.
mm.
It's tough to come back from that.
Yeah, and I'm like just to link it to what we were saying earlier, is that you can train yourself to be sensitive to these things, but not let it affect you. Just sensitive so that you can pick it up
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah,
know what to do with it. Not
yeah,
sensitive and turn into a victim and internalize all this negativity
yeah.
and whatever, and then you make it into this huge ordeal and you can't handle it. And it's still
Mm.
your fault at the end of the day because you did that to yourself. So you have
Mm.
to be smart
Yeah.
about things, and you have like it's again what are you gonna do about something for yourself?
Mm.
You can
Yeah.
choose to make it a big thing and then you can't handle it because you're not equipped, or you can just recognize it and then be smart and choose to do something that's, I don't know, gonna get it out of your way and you're gonna move past it quickly.
Mm. Yeah. And I think again, like I said, it's the problem with that. The biggest issue with that is it gets even worse when you get incentivized for it. When it becomes exactly what you're
Mm,
about, becomes your life, then you can't think. It's like imagine if someone said to you like, Look, OT is not effective at all. And there's no need for OTs anyway. That's
Mm,
not just an attack on OT as a profession. That's an attack on your identity. Because without OT, you're back 20 years.
mm,
So of course you're going to then say, oh, what? And then fight against it, and you won't want to look at it in a factual sense.
mm.
Because fact is 20 years back, man. I can't go back there. Right? So that's what happens in a marriage, for example. You go divorce. Divorce means you're 10 years back. Then what are you gonna do then?
Mm.
It's like, oh, I do not want to go 10 years back because that means That's it for me. It's exactly that. It's just you don't know where to go after that. So that's when I say it's like some things will take you out. That's why you have to be sensitive with it. You
Mm.
have to be. You have to. It's actually not safe. That's why you have to be sensitive. So that's why a lot of times, even with these talks,
Mm.
it's exactly that. It's like you can see someone doesn't want to let go, but it's like you can understand that. Well, if she does let go, or if they do let go, that's game over for them.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
and
So,
like on that, I wanted to say something. Um, flip, I forgot. What was the gist of what you were saying? Just
oh, I was saying that the negatives or the things that people tell you that are negative towards you, you need to feel sensitive about it because if you don't,
mm,
then you're. So it's like I'm saying now, like if you say that OT or rehab is not like it's actually ineffective, that means we're back in grade 12.
mm, mm.
So everything that you have, the kids, the husband, the wife, the girlfriend, where you are in the world, how you think is gone.
Mm.
That is unsafe. So you
Yeah,
then have to fight against it because that's your safety net. That's why safe spaces are so appealing. But then it's
mm.
like, it still does not take away from the fact that it's still it's still ineffective. So what are you
Yeah,
gonna do?
yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I think that we've come from a time where we were very social beings,
Hmm.
right? We relied on people around us and our environment. Then I feel we moved to a time where this independence was promoted, like you should be there for you. And now I feel like we're back in this sort of we have to stand in a group sort of thing, otherwise we'll die.
Mm.
And I think that this is a time where you need to know when to be independent and when you need to have a group identity. Because when things come at you, I feel that you within yourself, you need to be your own safety net and your like safe place because no one can give that to you. And especially now in this world is so chaotic and everyone's fighting against everything. Like there's, I don't know, like you can't even think of something that's not got a group or like a thing behind it, you know?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so I feel that, so with this situation, like someone's going to come and say, okay, OT rehab is useless. But you know for a fact as a practitioner, and you've seen what you've done and you've seen the effects of it, you don't need that person to tell you whether it's beneficial or not. And you
Yeah,
have
but
to
you have
have
to
that,
question it as well.
you have to question it. And I mean, you should be open to see where that deficit is,
Yes, yes,
but not let it affect like your confidence within yourself.
yeah. Yeah, that's where your strength comes from.
Yeah, and then so you're open to it. You've seen the benefits of rehab. We're using that example. Someone enlightens you about an area of deficit where rehab doesn't work. How are you then going to use your confidence and what you've learned to then remedy that deficit? So now you've got a chance to apply yourself. But you're not going to
Yes,
apply yourself because this person dissed you and hurt your feelings.
yes,
And
yes,
now you're going to wait for the next person to come along and say, no, OTs are the
yeah,
champions. Rehab,
yeah,
the world
yeah,
can't survive without rehab. Please, we need you. And then you're only
yeah,
going to pick yourself up and apply yourself.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then you're relying on an external safety net. To what if that
mm,
person never ever came along?
yep, yep,
And
yeah,
then that's how you take yourself down. Right? It's
yeah, yeah. You safety net yourself into death.
mm,
That's what you. Yeah, you legit just build a gas mask around yourself until you just
mm,
you suck. Yeah, and no one can get in because it's a gas mask. No
yeah.
one can get through, and then you just keep going and you sell yourself these things and you suffocate. And that's what life is. It's like the depths of knowledge. Yeah, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. Is yeah, and we all have to go through that. It's like most of these lives teach me more than I can ever have taught myself.
Mm.
Even more, it's more than I've ever been taught at school, man.
Yeah. And it's just about like being open to that conversation
Yeah, I
and
think that's the
hearing
only.
what the person has to say.
Yeah, I think that's the only good trait that I get that I have. Thinking about it, being open to being slaughtered, because only when you're slaughtered you can go, oh, okay, this is what this this is the medulla oblongata. Yeah, yeah, crazy, yeah. Mm. It's like, yeah, I think every time that I post these things as well, it's like someone always pop up out of nowhere. Like I don't even know the girl that was on here, and someone will pop up with an opinion, and they'll be like, "Look, I have something to say about this," and it's like, "Cool, let's talk." And someone's always willing to talk if you're willing to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think things like that drive me in the sense that because then that person I'm pretty sure will teach me something that I don't know.
Mm.
But if I go, no, I don't want to talk to you. I know everything. It's like,
Mm.
no, probably don't. And I know less than I ever would ever know.
But you've also grown because like you started doing these videos on your own,
I know exactly.
and
I mean, everything.
it was what, YouTube or something?
What was it? No, it was just like a random,
Just uploading
like
on
just
Facebook. But I mean, it wasn't interactive. There
always having
was,
shit to say. Yeah,
you
just always
were
having.
just, I'm the goat and I'm gonna tell you.
Like, hey, look,
And
hey.
now
Do
look,
you not see these horns? Do you not
you're
see
not
these
even,
horns, bro? Like, what's going on, bro? It's the goat speaking.
and then now in these lives, like some of the times you're not even talking.
Yeah, bro.
You just shut
I'm
up and
always
listen.
up. Yeah, and I'm like, what's going on, here, bro? Yeah, I'm not. What's going on here?
Someone cut your horns.
Hey, the horns will never be cut. They'll never be cut. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes, yeah, and that that's part of life. But you have to go to that point where you're not, where you know that you're. It's like there's something there on that edge, man. There's something there, and you. Like that's exactly what you said. Like most, what I think it was like 10 or 15 when I first did it. It was just bars, just verses. It's not just some casual stuff. And then from there, someone wanted to. question stuff and question stuff. And then even then it was like robust and it's like, I don't want to really change. I don't want to really change. I'm here. And then boom, we're here now. I'm like, let me listen to what they're saying because it's probably much better than something else that I would have done.
Mm.
Yeah. And you've grown. And look, I think this that led to the group on WhatsApp, which
Yeah.
led to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows what this will lead to? Yeah. Maybe you'll
World
have your own podcast.
domination.
And invite me on it.
Hmm.
Maybe you'll have your own podcast and you'll invite me to.
I've actually been thinking about it recently.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you should have it. I
Yeah.
think you should.
But I think I'll
You've
have
had
like,
all the angles.
I think I'll have a very particular audience though. Like I'll have to,
Yeah.
I
I
can't
mean,
have it
look,
as broad
you
as yours.
why not? I mean, you've had all the broad people. Like even with these lives, right? Everyone that I've had, you won't even know whose live it is. It's not like everyone's. It's not like I'm asking the questions, or it's like we're all fighting. Like
Yeah.
most of the lives, we just argue. No one knows what's what until the end of the live when someone says, "Oh, hey, let me switch it off now." Oh, it's his. Okay, but it's like that. It's like it could have been yours. It could have been whoever, Potos or whoever.
Yeah.
So then why not? The only difference
No,
is
but yeah, but I was thinking of having it more and like OT oriented and having a specific aim and a specific
yeah,
dialogue
I like
going.
yeah. Maybe,
Um,
yeah, you can do it. That's almost the opposite of me then. It's just to kind of have whatever conversation go wherever. Then do that, yeah. Invite
mm,
me as well on it, and I can have some stuff to share as well.
rattle some cages.
Just a little bit of a rattling. Bring my horns there, just
And I'll
chaos.
never invite you back.
Yeah, man. No, you should have it. I think you should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think again, like if it's because it's quite particular, I think again, like if it must actually catch on, it's gonna need people who aren't scared.
Yeah. Which is
Because
why you need
there's
us.
a lot of conversation, especially in the groups and communities that I belong to. There's a lot of conversations that need to happen that people are scared of. And I feel that it's really important for us to tap into. And so it's going to need people who are open-minded and not afraid a little bit.
Some Eminem stuff. Yeah. Well, you should have it then. Look, like I said, man, for me, it wasn't even about engagement. It still isn't. It's
Mm,
I actually no, I'm introverted in that sense. I don't like to speak to a lot of people.
mm,
And have it's just like, look, you take it, you do what you want with it.
yeah.
Yeah, from the get go, it wasn't about that. It's still not.
Mm,
It's like, look, listen. I don't care if you want to edit it, you edit it. I don't. You want to take the thought process, you take the thought process. So yeah, for me, that's how it was. For you, if you want to make the way that you want to make it. I'm 110% around
yeah, I
behind you.
think
I don't
I
know
just
how.
really like the method. This live.
Yeah,
It's there's no time constraint. It's still virtual.
the battery constraint.
And yeah, people can come and go, you know.
Yeah, come, go, do you? Yeah, like I
And the
said,
fact
life is a
that
bit more
you
fun.
requesting to join would mean that you're consenting to being part of the conversation, and we'll see. I
Exactly.
have to think about it.
Yeah. I've never removed anyone from here, no matter
Yeah, but
how crazy
that's
I thought their views were. Like, cool. Like I'll learn from it. I'll probably learn from that more than I would learn from someone that has the same view as me.
Mm.
So yeah, go for it, bro. I think you should go for it. Like I said, be careful if you're gonna ask me about some stuff, because yeah, you can never
Exactly.
silence,
That's if
you can
I'm
never
gonna
silence
ask
the
you.
horn. You can never silence the horn. Yeah, yeah, man. It's actually weird. It's like it's so easy. Like I legit could have been doing other stuff now, but it's like, nah. Probably learn a bit more here than doing those things, and I can still do it. Then after I end this call, share it, and then boom, it changes someone's life. And then they tell me about it, and I'm like, look, bro, I don't care. Really couldn't mind. I'm happy for you, but it's not about me. It's about you. So, revel in that. I don't want you to feel as though that it's me that's doing this for you. It's like, no, you're the one that went on and listened to it.
Mm.
That's more on you than it is on me.
Mm.
So, I mean, it's tough. Like I was thinking about it. Like for me, I don't even listen to most of these like long form things that people talk about,
Mm.
or I don't. So therefore, when someone listens to me, I'm like, wow, that takes a lot of balls. Like, good luck. They're like, no, no, no. But like, you said something. I'm like, look, those things that I say there, man, I don't even know where they come from. So you, you take it the way you want. If you wanna know how I am in real life, it's like it's a bit different. Not too different, but a bit different. So yeah, you're thinking about that podcast, but I can see the mics already there. You're about to interview someone. You're about to interview someone already. Looking at your smartwatch at the start in 5, 4. I absolutely will laugh if you actually do that. Like if you're laughing about it now and you're like, you know what?
I won't do that. I won't.
Oh man, that would be classic. That would be classic. All I want to say though, if you want to start something like that, everything starts like there's a shitload of work.
Yeah,
It's a lot of,
exactly. So I have to think about it first and really know what I'm getting myself into.
yeah, and you must expect to fail because
Yeah.
you probably will fail.
Mm.
Yeah. You will fail, man. And then when you do fail, you go, yeah, well look, I actually thought about it and it happened. So therefore I will keep going.
Mm.
And you just doing it for the reason that that you want to keep doing it for. And then yeah, hopefully
Yeah, you just have
something
to keep
happens.
reminding yourself of the bigger picture, eh?
Yeah,
Not get
exactly,
greedy.
man. I'm hoping at some point like someone takes these videos that I'm making and like uses it to monetize, and then like I don't even know how it works, but whatever, like if they use it to make something. So someone that like is out there talking about how life is terrible and how they need a certain amount of cash or they need a certain amount of problems. It's like take this and put it on whatever you want to put it on and then make money out of it and stop complaining. Like I'm just hoping for that to happen. Like just go on there and like just take it, bro. Use it and then you solve your problem. Instead of coming on here and telling me about your problems. You do it then. Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah,
Hmm. When are you coming back, by the way?
I'm not.
When are you coming to visit?
No, I'm joking. I was looking at August,
You weren't here last. Were you here last year?
July.
Oh.
I'm looking at August, but we'll see, bro. Life is crazy. Like every week changes. You never know.
Mm.
So there's a plan, but yeah, it's better than not having a plan. I realize. You don't have a plan, that's where you get taken everywhere. And
I
more
guess.
likely than not, you go to the places that you don't even want to go.
Mm.
Then you have to fucking get out of that dump, and then it's just yeah, bad. So yeah, yeah. I think a lot of my friends go through stuff like that, but they just you get into a slump that just it becomes who you are.
Mm. Very quickly.
Yeah, it's actually quicker than the opposite. Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, and then your goal then becomes to even just stand on your feet, let
Mm.
alone reach the clouds. It's like let me just get to the surface. It's like you're just swimming and you just want to get to the surface.
Mm. Flip, I've been there. Yeah, I know what that's like.
Everyone has been there. I mean, everyone has been there and everyone will go through there, even if you've been there before.
Mm.
You just have to equip yourself with the tools to find, oh, okay, this rock. I remember one day I saw this rock. You
Mm.
put my left foot on there, and then there's some seaweed. I need to then grab onto that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then before you know it, you're back on the surface again. It's like losing a job. You go into like panic mode. You don't know what to do. You're back
Mm.
under the water. You know, that's when you go, oh, I've seen this CD before. Okay, I've seen this website before. Did we post something on there? I've seen this interview before. Oh yes, this is my tie. I've seen this tie before and this skirt.
Mm.
And then we're back on the surface again. But if you don't learn anything from the bottom of the pit, then you're underground permanently.
Yeah.
I said it happens all the time. It's like a breakup, back under the surface. A divorce, back under the surface. Like I said again, you go 5 years, 10 years back, and you go,
Mm.
man, what? I'm a student tomorrow. You know, you can be the. That's what happens when you get put in jail.
Mm.
It's like that, man. It's like tomorrow you were thinking about going to go to work and fight with your boss because you want a promotion.
Mm.
And then as soon as before you even go to sleep, the police rock up and they say, hey, about that promotion. Yeah, then you're just fighting to be part of the citizens. Yeah. And then, like I said again, those things can take people out, man. They will take you out. That's why I'm such against this whole feminism and GBV stuff because they don't know the amount of things that they want to protect. They absolutely annihilate the other people in the other box. You
Mm.
know, you want to protect someone from not being violated, but then it's like, well, how about the person that you're absolutely taking away their life by accusing them of something that you don't even know what it is, and
Yeah.
their life's gone. Mm.
Oh,
How my kids doing?
what kids?
Those two that.
The two on your body? I don't know.
I'll text them on Facebook and tell them to pile on you again. Pile on. Yeah, yeah, man. Anything else to say?
Yeah, I'm tired now.
Hey?
I'm tired now.
Yeah. Uh, this the one thing I also noticed about this is that it like it's almost like a saved game, right? Where you play a game, like say FIFA or Call of Duty, and you're playing it, and you get so far and you're tired and you save it and you
Mm.
go, you come back, right? But when you're there, when you're tired, you're thinking, there's no way I'm gonna get to the next level or to the next league. But
Mm.
when you come back, shit, you know what? I'm so thankful for actually going through all that shit that I went through to get to the point that I went through because now I'm so much more energized to keep moving again.
Mm.
And after a long period of time, it's such an insane amount that you've done that you were thinking when you were doing it in the beginning, you were like, man, no way I'm gonna get. I'm tired now. But that accumulation just puts you in a position where we have conversations where the people that you would have had conversations with maybe 2 or 3 months ago can't even understand the language you're speaking.
Mm.
So that's the one thing I've noticed about these things is that you then have to go, didn't I converse about this last week? But then it's like, oh, because I've made so many incremental and exponential improvements that you actually leave yourself
Mm.
back there. You leave the shadow of yourself back there. And people then want to talk to that shadow. And you're like, bro, I'm not even there anymore.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about. That's what happens at work, right? Like, you know, when you have your friends and then you go to university, then you graduate, then you get married, you have kids, and you go on with your life, and then you come back and you meet your friend that was your friend 5 or 10 years ago, and they start to tell you about, oh, miss, you remember we used to do this, and you're like, Jesus, which miss is that, bro? Like, what? It's like that with these talks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be like it's very weird to have someone on here to go and speak about like say privilege and the gender pay gap because we're like, but we sorted this out like a long time ago.
Mm.
Then it gets even more irritating when someone brings it up because you're like, what? What? Yeah. All right. She's still on, yeah?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Yeah. Man, she's just inspired. I was so excited to be inspired by her today. Yeah. All right, man. Are those burglar bars?
where? Behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tradie door on the window.
You shouldn't have that, bro. Didn't you remember B said that, look, if someone comes through and is a robber, they must tell me, look, I'm coming through this door. And you must then tap me on the shoulder and tell me. But I don't think I think that line was so iconic and I still don't understand it. It's like South Park. It's exactly like South Park. Like you watch it and you're so intrigued by the humor that you forget the teachings underneath it. It's like you have to watch it like 5 times in the span of 15 years to be like, oh, crazy man. Yeah. All right, Michelle.
Okay, cool.
All right. Enjoy your night.
Oh, it's
Shit.
your weekend tomorrow.
Tomorrow's Thursday. Yeah. Tomorrow's Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you're doing a live. Look, man.
Yeah, actually, but I'm going to work early tomorrow. Tomorrow's my early day, so I do a live whenever now, bro. I don't. It's worth more than anything else. So yeah.
Mm, okay.
Mm. All right, my
Peace
ninja.
out.
Cheers.